הרצאת האורח, Developing a Vision for Israeli E-Commerce. Carlo D'Asaro, President, South and Eastern Europe, Middle East and Africa Operation, Google. Thank you. דקה לפני שהוא עולה, אני מזמין את כולם גם לשמוע את ההרצאה וגם להשתתף איתנו יחד בטוויטר, ISOC-IL 12. Carlo, please.
Good morning. I'm sorry I can't speak Hebrew. I'm obliged to speak English, and I'm sorry for this. But I'm delighted to be here. Even though I must say it's never easy to talk about the internet in Israel. You may not know that, or probably you do, I don't know, but in terms of economy, you are the biggest user of the internet globally. In terms of economy, because of what you bring to the world, because of all the technology companies that work in Israel, internet represents a bigger percentage of your economy than anywhere else in the world. However, if we look at it from the e-commerce perspective, there is a long way to go. We do believe at Google that e-commerce can be a significant boost for the economy in Israel, in particular for small and medium companies. And this is what I would like to talk about today. Oh, the clicker, not the... Okay, great. So let's start with a couple of things. I will not try to lecture you on the importance of the internet because you know more than I do. But I would like to give you a couple of perspectives. If you think at about 10 years ago or 15 years ago, the first part of the economy that really moved to the internet was travel. And in travel, this is the customer wheel. The customer wheel is a tool we use at Google to analyze what people do on the internet on a specific given thing. So on travel, people started to look at places to go to on the internet, but then went to agencies to purchase the ticket. Or after having purchased the ticket, they went to the airport or whatever they had to go, and they did the check-in. Everything was done pretty manually. The internet was not intervening, right? If you look at now, many aspects of traveling are done via the internet. Purchasing the ticket itself, looking at places, the check-in somehow is done mostly online. The tickets are now online tickets, and everything is simplified by this. If you imagine for each and every sector the same sort of wheel, the same sort of movements as the web, you will see that it's occurring basically in most of the sectors of the economy now. The second big change, if you look at those curves here on that mobile phone, you will see the red curve should be mobile, and the blue curve should be what we call desktop usage. Actually, we do put tablets at the moment in mobile, which maybe is a mistake. Anyhow, what we know is that both tablets plus mobile will overtake the desktop in the usage of the internet very quickly. Will it be next year? Will it be this year in some countries? It will happen. The two curves at the bottom, are even more important for me. Because what happens, if people are connected when they are in front of a desktop, they are normally connected in the office or home. When they use a mobile, they are connected in other moments. So basically, if you sum up those two curves, with the blue being the mobile in that case, and the red being the fixed, my colleagues always try to make fun like this, changing me the colors, so blue and becomes red, red becomes blue. If you look at those two curves, actually people will be connected during all the day. Clearly, if you think about this, and the customer wheels I presented before, meaning what people can do given the tools they have, this will become a very significant change. The third element is e-commerce. E-commerce clearly is important globally. 84% of internet users have already shopped online, but as Eric Schmidt says, only 3 to 4% of users of sales are actually done online. So the potential is still very big, although lots of people are using it. Those percentages vary a lot per country. So in Italy it's about 29%, in Spain 39 or 40 now, Turkey 17, etc. So the percentage varied a lot. However, it's still already very significant in terms of weight on the economy. About 163 billion will be spent on e-commerce sales in 2013. And the growth rate is still very important, about 20%. We'll go now to some data on Israel, but first of all, I would like to show you something. That small movie was made by Google to present its wallet. the Google Wallet. It's a vision, so I'm not promising that everything said here will happen. I think the interesting thing, I prefer to walk a little bit, the interesting thing about this is that it's very difficult to define e-commerce when we look at it. Normally we define e-commerce by the fact of purchasing online. But when you purchase whatever, first of all you have to decide what you purchase, then you have to write the right level of information, then you purchase it, and somehow then you have to retrieve the goods as well. So all of those elements could be done online, and if only part of them are online, other ones are offline, where are we? E-commerce or not e-commerce? Difficult to say. Let's go to Israel now, and what we call the Israeli paradox. The first element which is important is that 6.4% of the GDP in Israel, according to a study done by McKinsey, are brought by the internet. And if we look at Israel for Google is very important for two reasons. One, because you contribute to the world with technology in an extraordinary way in many fields. And the second thing, because the levels of growth and potential there is in Israel are still very high. If you add to that fact, the fact that e-commerce is so low in Israel, the potential for relevance of the internet economy in Israel is extremely important. The second country here is Sweden, the third is UK. You have to know that UK and Sweden are the two highest e-commerce users. And actually, if you rank all other countries but Israel here, you would notice that the higher they are on e-commerce, the higher they are on the internet and GDP. This is an exception. Israel is an exception because of your technology savviness. In terms of usage, we were asking before with the president of the Internet Association if it was a question of usage, why people don't go to do e-commerce in Israel, or of offer. It's always very difficult. It's a bit of a chicken and egg, as you said this morning. But to be honest, I do believe that it's more a question of offer than usage, and I will try to prove that to you. First of all, because people in Israel search online before they buy. About 85 or 75, sorry, of people search online before they buy something. Those statistics are very difficult to calculate, but basically it means that normally in Israel, whatever you purchase, you look at the internet before. This is what it means, whatever. No, it's not only for travel. If the average is an average, it means that on some things you do it 100%. Smartphone usage is very strong in Israel. 32% smartphone penetration. If you went 2-3 years ago, I guess it would have been less than 10%. So acceleration is big, and smartphone usage increases a lot. Smartphone in stores. We've seen that before with this ad for Google Wallet. When you are in a store nowadays and you have your mobile phone, you can check prices, you can check about the product, you can check about competing product, you can define what you want to do. And this is changing the habits of people purchasing globally. And it's happening particularly strongly in Israel, if we understand things well. because probably the quality of connectivity you have and the high penetration of smartphones. 58% of people that have smartphones declare to use them in stores. That's quite significant. Other important element, and we said that before, in terms of internet economy, Israel is very strong, but in terms of e-commerce, it's very small. But here, I want to read those numbers because I don't want to say it wrong, okay? 67% of Israelis are buying products through the internet on a regular basis. This is statistics done, calculated by McKinsey. 81% of the online Israelis bought online coupons with a credit card. So maybe they don't buy the product, but they buy a coupon and then they go in the shop. 21% of online Israelis bought clothes and fashion online. I would guess they didn't buy them in Israel, but abroad, because of the limited offer there is in Israel for online shops on fashion. I think the first ones opened last year, right? But if we calculate e-commerce as a percentage of GDP in Israel, it's only about 0.5, right? Yes, 0.5%. This is definitely very low. Now, why? And what can we do about it? First of all, let's look at how it developed around the world. The numbers don't matter. What matters here is to see that sectors going to e-commerce have been many. The first one has been travel, as said, and the potential for travel online to grow is still very significant. The second one have been the services, probably because they are dematerialized. When you purchase travel or a service, you don't need to go and collect it. You receive it via the web somehow. And travel in particular, you receive the ticket of the web, so you don't need to go outside. Then technology came, electronic, hardware, and then clothing. But if you look here, the potential for growth on e-commerce of all sectors like home and garden, entertainment, books, tickets, toys, is still extremely significant. So it is an important potential for the economy to develop e-commerce. Other important thing, before to go to the obstacles, in economies where SMBs are important, e-commerce is a way for the SMB to compete with big companies. Because once you sell online and you sell around the world with websites, you don't need to build big sales forces, and so you can really compete with the big companies. And that's a very important element in Israel, as we'll see in a minute from now. What are the obstacles? I would say the first obstacle in general is trust. Trust for the price, trust for the quality, trust for the product, perception issues. But trust issues change very fast, as you all know. However, the most important issues are still trust, in particular in Israel. Now, the fact that we still think that we'll pay less for a product offline than online. For example, if you think to travel, our mentality today is purchasing travel is less expensive online than offline, for a hotel or for a plane. But we still think that for a PC and something else, it's more expensive offline. Strange. Strange. Also because generally it's not true. Maybe we also like to bargain. We like the relationship, right? Maybe creating that online would be an important element. Uncertainty and security. If I put my credit card online, will I run a risk? Now we have to acknowledge that the number of frauds that happen on credit cards are much lower online than offline. So somehow the security probably is quite mastered online. For small and medium companies, logistics. How will I bring my product to my customer? Lack of tools. Do I have the tools to be able to dialogue with my customer online? Not only the website, but I need to be able to talk to the customer online. This is not an easy thing to do. And many SMBs, and you will see this in Israel as well, don't yet have websites. So if you don't have a website, it's very difficult to sell with a website. Why do we believe e-commerce is important now for users and for the economy? As I said, because it's... Sorry, this is our country manager in Israel calling me right now. He knows I'm giving the speech. He invites me here, and then he calls me during the same thing. Mayor, I like you, but sometimes. So, for SMBs, it's important because you can compete with the biggest. And clearly, for an economy which is based on SMEs, it's important because if you don't do that, your SMBs will suffer. The SMBs will suffer the competition coming from other SMBs abroad. So as people caring for the economy, being Google or being all of the people in the room, we must explain that to our SMBs. Your competition, even very small, even coming from abroad, can create problems to you. I understand the situation, the logistics situation of Israel, and I understand that in Israel we live a particular situation compared to other countries like France and Spain. But the world is really global now. So some challenges are coming ahead as well. More choice and better prices. It is a fact that where the internet arrived and e-commerce was developed in Israel, sorry, on the world, prices changed often. So competition was more and more important at the benefit of users. And of course, who says more growth, says more jobs. On average, every company creating a website and starting to sell with it creates a job after 6 months. So what would you like to do, and what does Google do around the world for that? We try, in every economy where we find the right trust between the political system, the private partners, and ourselves, to develop programs to bring SMBs online, help them to create websites, help them to develop the right tools, overcome what we just said before here, those difficulties that the SMBs have to go online. We are looking in Israel at finding the right partners to do this. It's an important thing for us. We think it's an important thing for the economy. Let me just remind you some key elements, if I understand well, of Israel. 98% of businesses are SMBs. 98% of businesses are SMBs. Actually, it's the same statistic exactly like Italy, 98% in Italy as well. They account for 55% of Israel jobs. And only 2% of SMBs in Israel accept online payments. The challenge is huge. The challenge is big, but it can be overcome. Just before to finish, I want to say that as Google, we have developed tools to help SMBs to understand and to help everyone understand what they can do with the web. The first of these tools, whom I invite every one of you to look at, is Insight for Search. See how many people are looking for travel or for anything or for your goods and for your things. The second one is how to go more, which is, I'm not talking here about a Muslim site, it's how to go mobile. And the purpose is to see if your website mobile phone, it needs to be fit for it. And we must remember that when we develop websites now, they should be developed for mobile first, because mobile will be first very soon. So any website should be developed to work on a tablet or on a mobile. And the last element is Market Finder, to really find where the customers for you are. What do we propose to do? And I finish in 2 minutes. To, as an SMB, look at your customer wheel. As a company, look at your customer wheel. Try to understand what your users do when they are on the web. You accept that 90% of them, 80% of them, or 77% in Israel, look for your products before they buy on the internet, so you need to be there. Second thing, optimize your website so it's easy to use, it's simple and pleasant. And provide support online for payments, to develop payments and delivery systems. On those parts, we are ready to partner in Israel with partners, with companies, to make this happen. As you've seen, I presented Google Wallet before, and I think it's an important tool. Let me finish with try to giving you some fun. I've been speaking English, which is not nice, fast, which is not fun. So let me try to give you some fun. This is a video. It's an advertisement for Mini, okay? And I'm not doing advertising for Mini, but look at it, because when I saw it, I thought, well, you know, when this is really happening, the web is really everywhere. Look at this ad. just to finish, you know, when we look at the internet, we often think about a website. I'm finishing now. We often think about a website. If you look at the internet nowadays, we should not think about a website. We should think about a map, we should think about a video, we should think about a mobile phone, basically at anything that can help us connect with someone. Internet and communication are really merged now. And as Google, our job is to develop tools to help each of you to do it at best and in a way that maintains the humanity of the relationship, in a way that maintains this humanity that will push people to act. I was delighted to be here today. Thank you very much.
אני מזמין את כולם לסיום הכנס, לסיום הפתיחה של הכנס. אני קודם כל רוצה להציג לכם את הדוכנים. אתם מוזמנים להיכנס ולראות כל אחד מהדוכנים. יש שם דברים מאוד מעניינים. דוכנים האלו הם נושאים או חברות שאיגוד האינטרנט במהלך השנים תמך, קידם, פיתח, ואנחנו מאוד מעוניינים שאנשים יראו. מכאן אנחנו בעצם ממשיכים הלאה. אני מזכיר לכולם, טוויטר, ISOC-IL 12, מזמינים את כולם להעלות ציוצים לטוויטר. ומילה אחרונה באופן אישי, אני רוצה להודות באופן אישי וישיר וקרוב למיטל, שבעצם בזכותה לא היה שום דבר. אבל תדעו שמיטל זה מילת הקסם. כל מי שיש לו איזושהי בעיה, יצעק מיטל, היא תבוא תעזור לו. 10:45, אנחנו מתחילים במסלולים, באולמות. תודה לכולם.